So Elisa, would you like to comment on your impressions?
Sure. First of all, thank you for including me in this experiment, John. Um, uh, what I did for AB1 was kind of different than what I did for the second one. But I didn't do a cool down. First of all, I'm not the type of person that does cool downs, but I did do a transit line, which is my kind of way of focusing, I guess. And then what I found was that I've done similar kinds of things before. I have a history of kind of doing either looking for passwords or kind of doing some kind of alphabetics and numerics. That ideograms kind of work well. And I've also tried spaces and branching out techniques. And so for this one, I thought I'd do the ideogram. And so that's what I did. And I kind of traced it with my other hand. What I found was that doing the initial ideogram kind of worked. I could pick up some of the letters, or at least part of the first word, and that maybe that ideogram needed to be broken down more. And I also felt like I was getting some visual flashes of names. I was hearing, the name. And so I was also going to the person, seeing the person, kind of like what John was doing, feeling what the person was looking like, and so on and so forth. For a lot of this, just trusting that information and writing it down, especially for the first part, that's what I did. For the second, I would say for AB1, I really trusted that more. I felt more tired, I guess more exhausted from that tasking. Whenever we went to AB2, it was a lot different. Even though I've done scenarios like that in the real world and operational, it was odd. I had this kind of cubic effect. That's how I explained it to John and to Henny and to Deborah and others. It was like I was being pulled to an initial target and then being drawn out, and then kind of having to refocus myself back in. It was a strange experience for me. It was really hard to stay focused to where they wanted me to go and stay there. It took a lot of concentration for me to do that. And then I kind of felt like I was being pulled around into whatever activity was happening. And I had to say, no, don't do that. Concentrate on the street sign, And so I was really strict about that in my session. And because I thought, I'm not going to get credit for this, And so I tried to just draw the street sign, the physical street sign, and do like an intersection and kind of either jump into the body of the person if I was getting pulled into the person, and then look up and look around, which is what I used to do, like in missing persons and things like that, and see what can I see, and then do the best I can at that. And the other thing that happened to me with AB2 was that I did get a name, but it was a name that was associated with a person.
Right.
It was my ex-husband's family street name. And so I thought, I'm just going to ignore this and push it aside. But it ended up being an actual, if I would have wrote it down, it would have been a hit.
Right.
So I should have just, I'll share that with you. When it comes in, just, write it down. And so I kicked myself for it. I wrote the T, I wrote the R, and then all of a sudden I just got that visual flash. And then I even like heard it. I heard the name, and I just was like, no, I'm not going to put that down. And so, what would it have cost me? It would just have been one more word, but I didn't put it down. And so I found it funny afterwards when I got the feedback. But I do like to use the ideograms. I find that they work well, and then kind of expand on that if I find like I'm doing the ideogram, it's not working, then I'll refocus myself. I'll actually write down refocus, and then I'll do it again. And I feel like I can kind of get more of the letter or more of the word. And so for me, that works.